Welcome to the stream. So obviously we've got round 5 of the Nexus GT coming up. So this time we're at Laguna Seca for the disastrous desert driving that we might end up seeing. Hopefully we don't get too many people have issues with the going off into the sand. But it's very, very easily done at this track. Got a couple of new names that we've not seen before, so that's nice to see. Sonic livery there from I'm Mullet. McLaren, I think that makes him the second McLaren. I believe Oni's always been in the McLaren, so. And then we've got Potter in now as well in the BMW. Sort of like a multicolored camo type design there, like paint splatter design. cargoer from last week in the Mazda. Ace Killer as usual in the Merc there. Umbad in the GTR. Dominican Play in the Merc. The Merc does seem to be a popular car choice in GT3 at the moment. So about 5 minutes time we should be underway with the start of qualifying at 8 o'clock. Then we got Martin as usual as well in the Jag. The lobby's really lacking stability with people jumping out tonight. I know it does always have a bit of a jump, but it seems a little bit worse maybe. But I'm not sure. Hopefully we don't have any issues with it. Dr. Genius Clarkson, I'm not sure. Was he in last week? He might have been. He might have been new last week if I remember correctly. We said our mullet at the leading the way at the moment in practice. There you go, 3 minutes says Gecko there till the race starts. Well, till qualifying starts, I should say. Have a closer look at Mullet's livery there then. I think that we've seen everyone that's out on track now. Hopefully we can get a nice full lobby tonight. So we're getting ready for qualifying any minute now. If we see Potter sliding around quite a bit there in the BMW. Representing Team Oliver Racing there, same as Martin the Jag. It looks like we're starting soon, so unfortunately it looks like we might not quite get the full lobby in time to start. Might be a couple join after qualifying ready for the race, and I'll have to start at the back. So for those of you that aren't aware, it's two 30-minute races. First 30-minute race set by qualifying. Second 30-minute race is a reverse grid of the first one. All tyres are available. From what we've seen so far, most tracks appear to be soft to medium or medium to soft strategy, with the odd couple of, as we see Oni go right off there, showing us how dangerous that sand can be. There we go, just qualifying just about to start now then. Looks like we've got Philo getting out first then. So Philo can demonstrate to us what a good lap of Laguna is. Go on board like we usually do, and as I said, Philo can take us round on the first lap in the NSX here, or maybe not, as he's going to go a bit deep and go into sand, but no, he's still well enough ahead of everyone, so he's going to be the first to start a flying lap most likely here. There we go then, round the final corner to start the first qualifying lap, to set the benchmark for everybody else. Coming down to turn 1 and 2 then. Keeping a nice tight line there. Just getting 2 tyres on the grass there, unfortunately though. Right, lift back on the power as early as possible. And again, now got to keep as much speed as you can through here as you start to go up the hill. It's just going to run wide there then, Philo, but manages to hold on to the car. But that's going to have lost a fair bit of time then. And then here you really don't want to run wide off there, or you can end up in a big crash. So coming down through the corkscrew now, the most famous corner on this track. Running very wide again, but managed to keep it on the curb. Maybe pushing a little bit too hard on this lap here, Philo, but it is going to be a banker. They've not got any penalties, so it is going to count. But definitely improvements to be made there. There's Ace Killer, and then Potter goes onto provisional pole at the moment, but taken away by I'm Mullet. So I'm Mullet setting the pace here. As Umbar goes 5th, Marty has to reset, so I don't think Marty got a lap in there. There's a few getting slow laps in, so maybe had incidents on those laps. As Oni goes up into second place there then. See who else is still to cross the line now. Then we've got Green Death, unfortunately, gone off there. And we've got Gecko now on his first flying lap, just coming up to the corkscrew. So we'll see what Gecko can do. Gecko will be wanting to put it on pole. Let's see how well he does now then. Green Death stays out the way as he's getting back on track. Gonna have to go around for a new lap, but let's see what Gecko can do. Coming up to the line now then. And Gecko's gonna go up to second place. So I'm Mullet still holding pole then, but on a second lap now. So let's see if I'm Mullet's improving as Philo does improve. But then Ace Killer takes that position away from Philo straight away. And I'm Mullet massively improves there. So going 7/10 ahead of Gecko on pole. As Umbar improves as well. But that doesn't look like Umbar moved up any positions at all. What about Kaga and Oni now then coming up to the line? Doesn't look like Kaga improved. Oni does improve to go up to second ahead of Gecko there though. So that's the two McLarens currently P1 and P2 by the looks of it. As Gecko has stayed out for another lap. It looks like most people have done 2 laps on the tyres before we set into the pits for fresh tyres. And Gecko is currently purple, but only just. So this is going to be very close now then. Let's see what he can do coming around the last couple of corners. Needs to get a good exit out of the final corner here now then. And let's see what the time's going to be. Improvement by 5.5 tenths nearly, but still 2 tenths off our Mullet there. But back up into second place, as everybody now appears to be on outlaps. Oh no, Dominican Play maybe on a fast lap. We've got Potter right behind on. Oh no, unfortunately, the corkscrew Dominican Play goes off there. As Green Death's going to finally come around to set a lap after struggling for that first lap to take 9th place currently. And is Mart about to set a lap by the looks of it? As Mart's the last one not to set a lap. So Mart moves up into 8th place there now then. So everybody else currently on outlaps. Dominican Play coming to cross the line, but obviously big mistake on that lap at the corkscrew as we saw. But they are on Racing Hard tyres. Dominican Play is on Racing Hards. So maybe an error from them there. As Mart's still on a fast lap. So we'll stay on with Mart for now, see how Mart can do. Got a nice slipstream off Umbar. And Umbar is just ahead of Mart at the moment. So this slipstream might allow Umbar to Mart to get the advantage of Umbar. Through the corkscrew now, keeping it nice and clean. And Mart is up, but not by quite enough to go ahead of Umbar at the moment. But said maybe he'll pull a bit of slipstream out of the final corner, and that might be enough to have a gain, but we'll see whether Umbar's gaining on this lap as well. As Green Death crosses the line there, Dr. Clarkson, to improve their time. Umbar improves the time. And so does Mart, but Umbar actually pulled away from Mart on that lap, so improved by more than Mart did. As we see Potter there improves their time. And we've got Ace Killer now coming to the line. Can they? Oh no, they're on an out lap, sorry, there. As it looks like Oni's maybe had a bit of an incident there, pushing a bit too hard, trying to get back into that top 2. As we've got Gecko coming round, but Gecko is down on time during this lap, so he's going to have to go for it on one final lap now then. What about I'm Mullet now then? Let's see whether I'm Mullet's on for an improved lap at all. Looks like at the moment I'm Mullet and Gecko are the 2 racing for pole position here, but Oni looks like they're going to have something to say to that. as Kaga improves up to 5th place there, jumping ahead of Ace Killer. So clearly, by the looks of it, most people are doing a much faster lap on lap 2 on the tyres. So this is where we'll see whether Gecko can improve to get ahead of Mark, but 1/10 down in the first sector, pushing it very hard there by the looks of it, Gecko. As Dr. Clarkson improves again, and so does Umbar again. So we're still having improvements made here. And Potter improves again as well, but stays in 4th. And Ace Killer improves to move up to 4th there, knocking Potter down into 5th. Let's see whether Gecko's up. Gecko is purple just by less than half a 10th. So let's see whether Gecko can improve this time and nick pole off our Mullet. But remember, our Mullet's not far behind Gecko on the track. Also on a fast lap, so might have an answer to Gecko's time here. But let's see whether Gecko can overthrow Mullet first. And Gecko does by half a 10th. But here's our Mullet just behind. Can our Mullet nick that pole position back, straight back off Gecko? No, down by a 10th. So Gecko has nicked that pole position there, but they might both be able to finish one final lap here. So Mullet might get one last chance to try and take pole, but let's see where everybody else is. As Ace Killer in 4th, just coming through the corkscrew. So everybody will be on to final laps now, so it's whether they can improve or not. As we see Umbar improve again to go up to 7th now then. So Umbar takes 7th place, but that will have been their final lap. Potter improves to go back up to 4th ahead of Ace Killer. Can Ace Killer take that 4th place back off Potter? They've traded it a couple of times here. No, Ace Killer can't improve on that lap. So what about, we've got a few further ahead here. See who they are, it's Dominican Play. Can Dominican Play improve? But Dominican Play on our hard tyres, remember. And then we've got Philo behind. So let's see whether Philo can improve. Try and maybe get up into the top 5. And Philo does improve to go up to 6th place there. And then we see Gecko does not improve. What about our Mullet? Does our Mullet improve there? Oh, unfortunately, Dominican Play just gets in the way at the end there. That's very unfortunate. But looking at that, I don't think our Mullet was on for an improvement anyway. But very unfortunate timing there. If we've got anyone else still out on a fast lap, doesn't look like it. We've got Mart and Dr. Clarkson in the pits. Yeah, that's everybody laps completed now then. So obviously we've got Gecko starting on pole with Mullet and Mullet right behind. Very close between them two. And then Oni in 3rd place. Potter in 4th with Ace Killer very, very close to them in 5th. Philo not too far back in 6th. Then we've got Kaga, Umbar in 8th, Martin 9th, Clarkson in 10th, and Dominican Play in 11th place there then. So hopefully we should be on for a good race here. So for those that aren't aware, 2 30-minute races, second being a reverse grid. General strategies that we've had so far in the season is mostly soft to medium or medium to soft, but at Spa it seemed to be the no stop. We did have someone in the Porsche at Spa, so the no stop on the mediums for them, but everybody else was that no stop was on the hards. I do think Laguna has a fairly long pit stop for the length of track, so maybe we'll see some no stops again here as people try and take advantage of it. Hey Roxzilla, yeah, Gecko just snatching pole. It was very, very close between Gecko and I'm Mullet there. Only half a 10th in it between the two of them. So the race will obviously be getting underway soon. 2 minutes there, Gecko says, so give everyone a chance to change the tyres and stuff if they need to. So if you are watching the stream and you haven't pressed that like button, if you could just do that for us, that would be great. Hopefully we're going to get some good, exciting racing tonight. Looking by that qualifying, we could have a real fight on between Gecko and Mullet at the front. But said, we'll see whether strategies at all change, because that'll obviously make a difference. Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Rock. How about you, mate? You getting ready for Tora's final race later on? So here we go then, race just about to start now then. All right, you had a busy weekend having some fun then. As we see them get underway here, but there is contact at the back and contact near the front as well. Two bits of contact there off the start line. Maybe people got stuck. It was hard to tell, but people all of a sudden just appeared very close to others. And we got Mullet with a terrible start, dropping right back as well. Maybe they were the other ones that we saw a bit of contact with, maybe. As Potter went round, and Ma is all over the place by the looks of it, but manages to keep control. So Philo now challenging Oni for second place, and Gecko obviously has managed to pull a nice gap already. Oni just going to hold that position now then, but this fighting is slowing them down, allowing Gecko to just pull away as we see someone off onto the grass. It's Oni and they spin, and unfortunately the catch Ace Killer as well. This has been a very scruffy start to this race. That promotes Umbar up into third and Philo up into second there. And this is giving Gecko plenty of chance to run away as Mark now gets past Kaga and Mullet down in sixth now with a penalty to serve as well. So it's all gone wrong for Mullet off the start, but Mullet on the hard tyres, so maybe different strategies. We'll go through everyone's tyres in a minute as we've got Clarkson up to second, Ace Killer got going again now in 8th, and Potter 9th, Oni 10th, and we have had someone drop out unfortunately there as well. So obviously things have not gone well. Maybe there was a connection issue that caused some of that then. So here we've got Gecko in first place on the soft tyres, Philo in second also on the soft tyres, just running wide there, but getting away with it, managing to keep control of the car. But if you do that a few too many times, it might catch you out at some point. Yeah, Rock, that was the perfect start for Gecko, that, what he would have wanted, really. As we see Umbar on the mediums being passed by Mart there, but Mart is on the softer tyre. Then we've got Kaga on the hard, so possibly going for the no-stop. Then we've got Clarkson on the mediums, being deaf there. As Mullet goes round, so it's been a terrible start to this race for Mullet from second place, getting out of everybody's way there then. We're going to be right at the back here on the hard tyres. So we had Green Death there on the mediums, Ace Killer on the softs, Potter on the softs, Oni on the hards. So it's got all wrong for the hard runners doing the no-stop. So they'll need this strategy now to be the fastest strategy by a long way, because Mullet here is now 25 seconds off the lead. We were hoping we'd see a good race between Gecko and Mullet with how the qualifying went, but separated by 26 seconds already, 3 minutes into this race. So that might be enough for Gecko now with the pit stop anyway. So all going wrong for Mullet off the start now then. And things not going great for Oni either. Potter and Ace Killer having a bit of a bad time, as well as Clarkson. So I think it's only really the top 5 that have got away pretty clean. Kaga did get a little bit caught up, I think. But obviously on the harder tyres, has got away with it most. And the top 4 were the 4 unaffected at all by any of those incidents off the start. Hey Chris, mate. So we've got plenty of gaps already, as we see Gecko pulling out 2.5 seconds to Philo already, and Philo pulling out 2.5 seconds to Mark, who's got the second gap to Umbar, who's also got 3.5 seconds to Kaga. So we've got some big gaps already, but this is where our sort of battle is. Ace Killer and Potter with the really poor starts. We see Potter go again there. So again, the sand is causing nightmares here already for several drivers. As we see Oni trying to make his way back through as well now then. So Ace Killer now has managed to get by Clarkson. So we'll look to close up to Kaga on those hard tyres. Yeah, absolutely mad start here, Chris. The only worry is it might have spread everybody out too much. So we might have to go searching for battles here, because we're coming up to 5 minutes into this race and we already look like we're very well spread out, with Gecko running away at the front, but Philo is trying to stick with him here, and Mark trying to stick with Philo as well, and then Umbar dropping back a bit now, and Kaga obviously on the harder tyres on a different strategy. Just going to want to not make mistakes like the others behind, but they hold it, I was going to say, but they run wide there, nearly lose it. So Ace Killer closing up now, so Kaga probably happily let Ace Killer by, as Ace Killer is on the soft tyres. Totally different strategy here to Kaga. So we'll stay on board with these two for now, as this is probably the next move to be made, as everybody else is well and truly spread out already. So let's see now then. Yeah, you can just see the grip difference. Ace Killer with a nice simple move on Kaga on the exit. So I'm presuming Kaga just going to give that up, knowing they're on the harder tyre. So yes then, so Ace Killer getting it down into turn 1. Nice and easy there. So Ace Killer going to try and pull away and chase after Umbar now then. And Kaga going to try and stick with Ace Killer probably for as long as they can, as they run wide again. Those hard tyres really not working well at this track by the looks of it, because those that are using them are really struggling with running wide. So let's move back up the field, as Gecko is extending that lead to 3 seconds now then. And that gap to second for Mark has come down by about half a second as well. So Mark looking to get up to challenge Philo. And Philo looking to just try and pull away and stick with Gecko the best they can, as Philo makes a huge mistake. We've seen Philo run wide a couple of times and hold it, but not that time. But they do manage to get back on the track fairly quickly, so it's not going to affect them too bad, as Umbar's going to look for the move now. But Philo has got the inside line, Umbar around the outside. Philo's still going to have dirty tyres, so it looks like Umbar might get that move done, but Philo maybe got the better exit out the corner. So they're going to be side by side coming down into turn 1 now then. So we've seen a lot of mistakes already in this one. I said at the start that the running wide here into the sand of the desert can cause problems at this track, and we've seen plenty of them already. So I hope everyone's having we want exciting racing because of people racing close, not necessarily because of people spinning off, but it's making it very interesting. It means this race won't be over till the end, even with the gaps, because mistakes already being shown to be very, very easy to make here. So Philo going to look to try and recover, but that gets Mark up into second place and gets Gecko 5.5 seconds into the lead now then. So Gecko having it nice and easy now, so won't have to push too hard to risk making a mistake. There's no pressure at all on Gecko now. Ace Killer looking to close up to Martin Philo now then as well. Oh, I thought they run wide then, so then got Kagger obviously dropping back on the harder tyre, and then Oni trying to recover after the getting either spinning themselves or getting spun. I can't remember what one it was with Oni at the start. Potter having 2 incidents as well, one at the very start and then one while recovering. So they're down in 8th, 28 seconds off the lead already. They would have wanted to try and push forward after qualifying in 4th place. And then Clarkson now in 9th on those medium tyres. And Mullet all the way at the back on those hard tyres, wanting to move back forward after starting in 2nd place and having an abysmal time off the start, getting swamped, getting a penalty, and then having a big mistake later on as well. So things gone all wrong for Mullet after only qualifying half a second behind Gecko. They are now 33 seconds behind Gecko in the race. So Gecko already basically got the free pit stop by the looks of it. So if you are enjoying the race here, don't forget to like and subscribe if you've not already, because it really helps out the channel. So Gecko now extending that lead up to 6 seconds, but not pushing too hard. Maybe trying to just look after those tyres a little bit, get them to that halfway point so that they can put softs on again instead of mediums. But most races, Gecko has done soft and mediums, or mediums and softs, so that's what I expect Gecko to do again, but it'll all depend whether they can get these tyres to the 15-minute mark, which, looking at them at the moment, does look like it will be possible for Gecko here. So we could see Gecko have it nice and easy here to be able to put fresh softs on. As Philo now is looking to close up to Mart again and has pulled away from Umbar in 4th. And the gap to Ace Killer staying steady, but Ace Killer struggling on tyres. This is something we have seen in previous races as well. So that Merc really does suffer on the front tyres by the looks of it. We've got Kagger there on the hard tyres, so Kagger running a different strategy. But also already 22 seconds off the lead there. So maybe the no-stop strategy at this track is not going to be the one that pays off. Oh, as Kagger gets wide but manages to hold that. We've seen Philo do that a couple of times and then got caught out, so Kagger will have to be careful, or that might happen to them as well. As Oni closing up a little bit on the hard tyres as well, with Potter on the softs trying to make a recovery, and Mullet on the hard no-stop as well, looking to recover after an abysmal start. So the field is very, very spread out already. So we're looking at possible mistakes here more than anything else, as there's not really anybody at the moment racing for position. We've got Mart and Philo getting closer together, and Potter obviously closing up to Wani and Kagger being on the softer tyres, but obviously Potter's probably going to have to pit soon as well. Most of the drivers that are going to pit are obviously going to want to be aiming for that 15-minute mark in the race before coming into the pits if they can, because that'll allow them to put the soft tyres on again if they are on the softs, and if they're on the mediums they'll want to go a little bit longer than the 15-minute mark to guarantee that they can put the softs on and get to the end with no problems. But Mart's tyres looking really dead now, so Mart might have to come into the pits on this lap and put the medium tyres on to get to the end of this race. And Philo in a similar situation. Those tyres are really looking worse for wear. So these two might have to come in this lap and might have to put mediums on. So we could have a battle for 2nd place in the 2nd stint between these two. But we'll see whether either of them try and risk staying out with the worn tyres. But Philo has closed right back up now, but it's not going to go for the move as Mart stays in the middle of the track. Philo gets a better run out the corner and is going to get the inside into the kink here. So Philo has that move done. It looked like Mart might have just backed off a little bit there to not go side by side, but Mart really struggling on tyres. So Mart going to want to get in the pits very close to Philo so that they can then bring the fight back to Philo on the medium tyres. As Mart's front right there does now show all red. And Philo's rear right just about to show all red as well. But both of them actually are going to stay out. I'm very surprised by that. They are both staying out on the track here. So they're both going to risk, you know, we've seen people run wide and crash already. As Ace Killer does come into the pits now then. So yeah, Ace Killer's front tyre's totally gone. So they have decided to come into the pits here. Oni, Kaga on the hard, still the same distance away, and Mullet is definitely closing on these other two on the hard strategy. So Mullet maybe got a chance to be fastest of the no stoppers, even with those incidents earlier on. And you know that's probably the best that Mullet can look to aim for now, trying to get ahead of the other two drivers that are also on this no stop strategy. As we see Ace Killer now coming out the pits, but on the soft tyres again. So looking at the tyre wear, maybe that's a mistake from Ace Killer there, I'm not sure. But they only got 13 minutes out of the soft tyres before, so they're not going to get to the end now as we see Gecko come in. So Gecko should be able to just about get to the end here. Because as we see, Gecko's right rear nearly gone. Mart now coming into the pits after doing that extra lap with the dead tyres. So obviously doing that to get the extra. And Philo must have made a mistake because Philo now coming into the pits. So that's what I said, staying out that extra lap. Would it have been better going on to the mediums rather than doing that extra lap to get the softs? Because they're going to have the same problem on the final lap now. So that's going to allow Oni to inherit the lead. But let's see where Gecko comes out. I think Gecko might actually come out ahead of Oni here. So if Gecko comes out in third place, this is Gecko's race to lose. Gecko should easily have this one. So let's see now then. Can Oni get ahead of Gecko? No, it looks like Gecko's going to hold that. And on the fresher tyres and the softer tyres. So Gecko got a full pit stop ahead of these no stoppers because of the incidents that the no stoppers got caught up in earlier on. So Gecko should be on for an easy win this time round now then. So Oni currently leading the no stoppers as Mullet has now got by Kaga. So Mullet going to look to chase down Oni now then to be the leader of the no stoppers here. As these three are battling for the no stop. But we got Mart not too far behind these on the fresh soft tyres now then. So Mart should be gaining on these guys by a fair rate really. So Mart's definitely still on for a second place here. And the Ace Killer still could be on for a podium, but possibly one of the no stoppers might still be on for a podium here. Hey Ray. Yeah, no worries. I mean, you missed not a lot of racing action, but a lot of mistake action. As we saw quite a few incidents off the start line and then on the first 2 or 3 laps. Which is why the field is so spread out here, as you might have noticed. As we got Umbar and Ace Killer battling away, both on the soft tyre. So people are going for soft, even though the softs don't appear to be lasting on all of the cars. And things have gone totally wrong for Philo with doing that strategy, as Potter's going to get by Philo now then. But Philo looking to fight it back, but doesn't there. Philo has been flirting with the outside of the track a lot in this race, and it has caught him out a couple of times. So gonna have to play it a bit safer maybe. As we see Kaga drop all the way to... so Kaga's decided to pit. Kaga's decided that no stop ain't working anyway, so just decided to sack it in and put the softs on and go for it and see where they can get to. So if they thought they were going to probably finish near the back anyway, it's probably worth it, because they were at the back of the no stoppers, so maybe that will pay off for Kaga later on, but we'll see. Yeah, Ray, it was carnage is probably a good word, but a lot of it was more individual mistakes. We had a little bit of action off the start line, but then we just had a few people spinning on their own by putting 2 tyres off onto the sand here, which, you know, we do know you put 2 tyres off the track here, it can be game over, as we see Gecko doing it there. So we have had a lot of people running it very close, so there's still a possibility of orders changing here, because we are seeing everybody run this track right to the limit and risk making these errors, as Mullet's not really closing up on Oni by as much as they'll probably want. But Mart about to come back into the podium positions now then. So Mart going to look to close down Oni to take that second place away. Yeah, lots of sandcastles, right? As we see Mullet have a bit of a slide through the kink there, which we've already seen Mullet run wide there onto the sand and spin it once. Oh, there's a big slide through the corkscrew there as well. So the hard tyres at this track do look like they're not really favourable, because the hard tyre runners have really struggled. The ability to control those tyres seems to be well off being worth not pitting by the looks of it. So we might see that strategy dumped off come the reverse grid race. But we've got 10 minutes left now, so we have got Umbar and Ace Killer still battling with each other here. And something's happened to Philo. Philo's gone again, so that's the 3rd time Philo's gone and got bumper damage, so must have hit the wall as well there, or maybe the back of someone's car. So Philo there having to recover again from a mistake. So Kaga's choice to put them softs on maybe starting to pay off a little bit now, as they're moving back up this field. So we've got Potter in a bit of no man's land now in 7th place as well. Umbar and Ace Killer still sticking close together and battling it away. So this is our most interesting battle on track at the moment. But we'll just check forward, as we got Gecko with an 8.5 second lead now then. So Gecko's got this race won, just needs to not make mistakes and keep it clean. Then we've got Oni on the hard tyres currently in 2nd, but being caught very quickly by Mart. So I imagine that Oni is probably not going to be able to hold Mart off. But Mullet is not gaining on Oni anymore like they were before. And Ace Killer and Umbar now coming all over the back of Mullet. So Mullet's going to lose another 2 places here on this strategy. But then again, we're saying Mullet's strategy is not paying off. By lap 2, he was already 25 seconds off the lead due to incidents. So it's hard to tell whether the strategy would have worked when he lost so much time early on. As I said, he probably lost at least 20 seconds worth of that due to incidents. So as he runs wide again there, like I said, a lot of people are risking with the very edge of the track here. We've seen a lot of dust and sand kicked up here, as Ace Killer's going to get the run on Mullet, but probably not going to want to go for it before the kink, so might have to back off a little bit, which it looks like they do there then. And into the corkscrew, possibly going to have to sit behind Mullet for that as well. But something's happened to Umbar there. Umbar's dropped right back now after being on the back of Ace Killer. So that's going to allow Potter to try and catch up to get back up into that top 6 now then. But Ace Killer now still struggling to get by. And we see Mart all over the back of Oni now as well. So we'll keep an eye on both of these little battles. These are both one-stoppers versus no-stoppers. Expect Mart. No, Mart's not quite close enough to go for a move at turn 1. What about Ace Killer on Mullet? No, same situation. These guys need to take advantage of these softer tyres before they start to wear out. Because if they start to wear out and these hard runners are too close come the last couple of laps, maybe there's a chance of him getting it back. So Mark going to look for a move now on the inside, maybe. No, not going to be close enough for that. What about Ace Killer? Ace Killer might be close enough to go for it. Let's see. Yeah, Ace Killer pulls out there, gets on inside of Mullet, but slides it a bit, trying to keep it on that inside, but he's going to have the inside for the kink. So Mullet's going to have to back. No, Ace Killer chooses to back out. Surprised there, maybe not knowing him on the soft tyres as Mullet really close to the edge there again. So Oni has now been passed by Mart, so we missed that watching that little battle. So Mart has now managed to get past Oni there then. So Mullet still 5 seconds behind Oni like earlier on. So maybe Mullet is starting to close up to Oni again now. But there's only 6 minutes left to go in this one, so it might not be enough time to actually get something done. So let's see now, is Ace Killer going to get the move done? Ace Killer going to the outside. Mullet's really fighting this, wants to make that strategy work. Ace Killer got the outside line, should be able to hold it. No, not quite. I thought with those soft tyres there, might have been able to hold that round the outside, but not quite. Surely this is only a matter of time before Ace Killer gets by though. But this is killing Ace Killer's chances at a podium now then, no? Yeah, because Ace Killer's tyres might be dead now before they actually manage to catch Tuoni, if they do get by Mullet. So this is not what Ace Killer wanted. This is good for Oni though. Oh, and Ace Killer goes off there, pushing too hard. So that's podium gone for Ace Killer most likely. They managed to join back in. Unfortunately, not the best rejoin. Bit of contact from Umbar, and Potter got by okay. So now these two battling for the top 5 position now then. But it looks like Ace Killer's going to be pretty close to him, but tyres not looking in the greatest of condition compared to the two up ahead. So now we could be on for the 2 no-stoppers, possibly looking at getting a podium. As Mullet will look to chase down Oni, but it's 4.5 minutes left to go now then. And that's a 4-second gap that needs closing down. As Mark now maybe looking after the tyres a little bit to make sure they can hold that 2nd place. And Gecko just cruising away at the front. Got this race won. Umbar and Potter are going to want to try and chase after Mullet, but with only 4 minutes left to go in this one, they're also going to want 5th place, so they might battle with each other a bit too much to catch Mullet. But Potter is all over the back of Umbar now, so can possibly get themselves up to a P5 after incidents at the start and then a couple of laps into the race as well. Potter's had a similar story to Mullet in this race, so maybe that's proving that Mullet's no-stop strategy would have worked had he not got caught up in incidents near the start. Because obviously Potter's been doing the one-stop strategy and has had the same problems that Mullet has had. So let's see if Potter goes for a move now then. No. Gonna look to get the exit out the final corner so they can go for something into turn 1. But these guys are catching up to Mullet, so 3 minutes left. They are catching up, so still going to be a couple of laps for them to try and get up into maybe 4th place now then. And Mullet is slowly catching on, but it's not going to be by enough by the looks of it. He's being caught quicker from the guys behind than he's catching up to Oni in front. So we'll come back and check on that in a minute, as we've got Ace Killer dropped off into a bit of no man's land in 7th now then. And Kaga recovered up to 8th after putting those soft tyres on. Philo pulling it back up to 9th, but had plenty of issues, was in 2nd place for a long portion of the first stint, so it's all gone wrong for Philo in this one. And then Clarkson struggling at the back. Clarkson has pitted a 2nd time now then, probably accepted that their race was over, so decided to just get the fresh tyres on by the looks of it. So we got Gecko in a nice easy lead now then, and Mart in a nice easy second place as well. So that should be first and second sorted out. Mullet is closing up to Oni, so we could have a grandstand finish for the podium still, because we have got Umbar and Potter closing up as well. But I do think it's possibly going to be a bit tight. I think maybe our most exciting positional situation is going to be for 5th place by the looks of it. Both pretty much getting close to having no tyres left, so it could be down to these two who can keep it on the track the best rather than necessarily who can be the quickest, as Potter is going to look for the move on the inside, but not enough. Mark just cuts across and takes that racing line and says that that's not going to happen. So good driving there, but they are still catching Mullet, but the tyres are really going to be in a bad state anytime soon, as Potter looks like they get the run again, but coming into the corkscrew, there's going to be nowhere to go. It's a risky place to go for a move there, and Potter doesn't try it, but sticking all over Umbar's bumper there, and gets the inside line here. But if Umbar can hold it, they'll have the inside for the next corner, but no, they can't. So Potter does get that 5th place now then. But tyres on Umbar has gone, as we see Clarkson in the background. He's been lap spinning out, unfortunately, there. So Umbar's tyres have now gone. Potter with a tiny bit left, but probably not enough tyre life to try and challenge Mullet at all, as we are on the final lap now then. So Mullet's not going to be close enough to Oni, I don't think, unless Oni makes a mistake. But Oni does have no tyre. Those hard tyres even have totally worn out now. Maybe Oni pushing them too hard, so Mullet might still have a chance here, as we see Kaga crossing the line for 8th, Philo 9th, and then we're going to have Clarkson in 10th, spinning at the final corner there. So we'll get back onto this with Mullet and Oni now then. So we have got a grandstand finish for 3rd place, and we have got Potter and Umbar not far behind if mistakes are made by these guys. So let's see what happens now then. So Mullet closes right up to Oni there. They're both in the same car, but I think Mullet might have cut the corner, might have cost themselves 4th place there. Yes, they have. They've got a half a second penalty. Huge mistake for Mullet, pushing it for the podium, and going to lose that 4th position now then. As we see Umbar nearly going off in the background there. So we've got Gecko first, Mart 2nd. Oni is going to hold on to 3rd place. We're going to have Potter in 4th, courtesy of that penalty now then, no. Mullet in 5th, Umbar 6th, and Ace Killer's going to round it off in 7th place there then. So some good racing there, not necessarily the best racing that we've ever seen, because a lot of it was down to mistakes, but it was still interesting nonetheless. So the second race now is going to be a reverse grid. So same format, 30-minute race, same situation, but a reverse grid. And we had Carnage off the grid at the start of this race, so hopefully we don't have that in the reverse grid. But we'll just go through the order now then. So we had Gecko taking the win, pole, fastest lap and victory there for Gecko. Mart bringing home a great 2nd place there by being one of the few drivers to actually not have an incident in this race. I think Gecko and Mart might be the only 2 drivers that didn't spin off at any point during this race. So well done to those 2. Oni in 3rd, taking that final podium spot after a tough start. Potter getting back to 4th after their tough start, and Mullet back to 5th. Should have been a 4th, but for that silly mistake at the end, costing them with that penalty. Umbar 6th, Ace Killer 7th, Kaga with the change of strategy in 8th, Philo 9th, and Green Death Clarkson in 10th. So Gecko changed the settings there now then to do the reverse grid. It's not normally an exact break, Mullet. But if you just put a message for Gecko in the thingy chat, he will wait. He will wait for you to confirm when you're back. But if you enter in to the race so that Gecko can set the grid, Gecko there, see he's saying 10 minutes. So just let him know that you're not going to be there if you nip into the toilet or whatever, and he will wait for you. So obviously there will be a little bit of a break before the second race gets underway. And as I said, hopefully the start's a little bit better than the start of that first race was. And as I said, hopefully we maybe see less mistakes. But I do think there's a possibility that those guys that did the hard no-stop strategy might change plans, just because it did look like those hard tyres were a little bit of a nightmare to drive on. But looking at the tyre wear on he had in that McLaren, maybe the hard tyres is the only really option for the McLaren. But we'll see in this one. As I said, it wouldn't shock me if there's a few changes of strategy now then. Hey Pete, how you doing, mate? While we're just in this break, if people have enjoyed that first race, if you could just give the stream a like, that would be great. It really helps it out. Like I said, we've seen a lot of mistakes in that first one. As I said, I think it's only Mart and Gecko that actually got a clean race, I think, there. Just let Gecko know. Because obviously Mullet let us know in the stream that he was just nipping off, so... there we go, he's back now though, because he has just ticked in. Typical that, if I hadn't put anything he wouldn't have done. So we're just waiting for Philo now then. And then we'll be ready to get underway with this final race. But as I said, I'm hoping that we don't see as many incidents in this one, because it looked like we were going to have a really good race between Mullet and Gecko, because there was only half a temp separating them in qualifying. But obviously, with all the issues, Mullet ended up losing 20 seconds plus very early on, so that sort of got rid of that race and made it easy for Gecko. So as I said, hopefully Gecko will have a bit more of a challenge in this one, where he is going to have to come through from the back. But it'd be interesting to see if we see any changes in strategy now then. which I do think we will, just from what I saw in that first one. I would expect that there's a possibility that people might choose to swap strategies, because that no stop, it looked like it could work, but it did look like those hard tyres around here were a bit of a nightmare to drive on. So that might cause people to change their mind a little bit. But we'll see when the race gets underway, which will be very shortly by the looks of it. So there we go. Gecko just saying starting soon. So we're getting ready to get underway now then. Said this is another 30-minute race, but reverse grid this time. So here we go then, just starting the final race now then. Said let's see if more people can get to the end without taking a trip to build sandcastles. As I said, hopefully we can have a much better start. Hey Steve, thanks for popping in, mate. How you doing? Oh, so we got a jump start off the front. Clarkson has jumped the start. That could cause more carnage. And we have carnage at the back again. And then Clarkson ends up off the track. So again, this track causing problems right off the grid start in both races. As we see Philo get away in first place, followed by Kaga and Ace Killer in third. With Mullet up to fourth already now then. Potter getting up to fifth ahead of Umbar there. And it looks like Gecko making moves through the field, looking to get up to sixth place already. But Umbar's going to maybe fight that on the inside. Got the better line. Yeah, and Umbar holds that position. But a slight touch of the sand on the inside, that's not going to be good news because Gecko's on the outside. So Gecko might be forced to back out of this, and he is. So Gecko's going to lose a place because of that as well, and maybe to Marty as well. So Gecko getting a great start, but then getting sort of hung out to dry on the outside of the track there and having to back out and losing all those positions. So got all the work to do again. So Kaga now has changed strategy and has got up into first place. So Kaga has switched on to the soft strategy off the no-stop strategy. So we'll see how that goes now then. Pretty much, Steve, yeah, it's much better now. And Philo on the same strategy as the first race in second. Ace Killer changing strategy though. Ace Killer switching from the one-stop to the no-stop. So that's an interesting way to go, switching the other way. As we see a big snap from Potter there, but he manages to hold on to that. So Potter on the racing soft, so same strategy that they had in the first race. Will want to get past Ace Killer quickly now then, while they've got more grip. And Ace Killer probably not going to fight that, yeah, just drops in behind. Sensible driving from Ace Killer there. Mullet has stayed on the no-stop strategy, so we'll see how well that no-stop strategy works if you don't actually make mistakes, because Mullet made mistakes on the first couple of laps, but then kept it clean after that. But Umbar all over the back of him on the soft tyres, so Mullet probably going to want Umbar out the way, being on those softer tyres. Not going to want to get risk getting caught up in anything now then. And Oni staying on the one-stop, the no-stop as well. Gecko's sticking on the one-stop. And Marty's had an incident and dropped right to the back now after that good first race. So currently Gecko's the only one in the whole of the two races so far not to have had an incident. So we'll see if that continues on for Gecko here then. So we have seen two changes of strategy. We've got Kaga switching from the no-stop to the one-stop, currently in the lead. And we've got Ace Killer in fourth that has done the opposite, has switched from the one-stop to the no-stop. So we'll see how that works out for Ace Killer now then. So the no-stoppers are going to want to stay as close as they can to the one-stoppers when the one-stoppers pit, so that they've got the advantage, because the stoppers are going to have the better tyres to be able to pull away. So Mullet has let Umbar go now, and Mullet's got Gecko up behind. So this will be an interesting one to see what Mullet does with Gecko here, because Mullet will know Gecko will be on the softer tyres and have the pace easily, but also if Mullet holds Gecko up for a corner or two, that might help in the long run come the end of the race. So it'll be interesting to see what Mullet does here, as Umbar makes a mistake though, which is going to change the situation. So Gecko manages to get ahead, so Mullet's not going to take the inside line, but he's going to cut back across, so they're not going to let Gecko have it easy here, which I can understand. They probably know Gecko's going to get it at some point, but if they can hold Gecko up for a couple of corners, that might be worth it with the strategy in the long run. So I can understand Mullet doing this, probably not going to defend hard, but also not willing to pull out the way to let Gecko by. So you see they're not defending the inside at all, but also not getting out the way, as Gecko gets the run with the grip out the corner, and he's probably going to force Mullet to back out here, and he does, and Mullet does back out. So Mullet being very sensible there. He wasn't defending to Gecko, but he also wasn't going to let him by, as Umbar goes for the move, and I think that was an accidental attempt at a move from Umbar there, and he did fantastic to not hit Gecko in the end, because it looked like he had to straighten the car up and just anchor on the brakes in a straight line to stop himself from making contact there. So I think it was a bit of an accident there, but he did well to prevent any contact. There's Ace Killer now. Let's see what Ace Killer does, whether Ace Killer does similar to Umbar, because they're not going to want to get slowed down too much, but in the long run of the race, holding Gecko up for a couple of corners might play into account later on. So yeah, similar to Mullet here, not actually defending to Gecko, but also not allowing Gecko to pass, not lifting off to but are now defending to Gecko. So has now forced Gecko to the outside to go the long way round, but Gecko should be able to do that with the grip. And Marty gets on the inside. This is going to be 3 wide at the kink. Someone's not going to get the best of this here, but fantastic driving. Everyone survives there. And Ace Killer's really holding up Gecko and Umbar with their strategy. So this could work for Ace Killer and Mullet in the long run. But the only problem is, by doing this, they are allowing Philo, Kagger and Potter to run away. So it could play into the hands of the 3 up ahead come the end of the race though. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ace Killer maybe sort of lets Gecko go in a minute, because he's probably held him up enough for the race strategy here. But let's see, no defending the inside again, and Umbar's trying to take advantage of Ace Killer holding the inside. Gecko's got the grip on the outside but can't quite get round. Umbar looking for a gap, trying to take advantage of this. Gecko having to back out again. Ace Killer's really doing a good job of positioning that car, but Gecko's finally going to get the move done, and Umbar's going to take advantage and get through as well, and so's Oni. The only problem Ace Killer's had here now, he might have let Mullet through, who's on the same strategy. He has. So I think Ace Killer over-defended there. He had to defend for the long run of the strategy, I think, but maybe took it a bit too far. As we see Mullet off. Does he hold it this time? He does. No, he doesn't. We jinx him, as we say. He holds it. He's made the same mistake as he did in the first race, and a terrible rejoin there, but luckily for Mar, he ghosted. So Mullet has made the same mistake that he made in the first race there. So we're not going to see if this no-stop strategy works out for him this time. Same error, same corner, exactly copycat situation of race 1. Yeah, Blue Racer, he probably was. I understand why Ace Killer was doing it, though, because I think for the long run of Ace Killer's race, but I think he maybe took it one lap too far. You know, I think he had to hold Gecko up a bit to make his strategy work later on, but he might have lost himself a bit too much time to the other guys further ahead by doing it, but we'll see whether it pays off. It'll be interesting to see, as Kaga has made a mistake, because Kaga had the lead of this race quite easily by the looks of it before and has dropped back now. So Philo got a comfortable lead, so Philo going to want to keep it clean. Made a couple of errors in that first race, which dropped them right to the back, so going to want to not do that this time. Yeah, it definitely is, especially when you end up with 3 cars all looking to go into it at once like we saw just before. Which I don't know if that was a bit of a factor in the 2 cars behind also going off because of what had happened on the previous lap through there. You see Philo get a little bit deep, but you can get away with that at this corner. You can cut back for the second apex on the second part of the corner there. And then we've got Potter 3.5 seconds behind Philo, with Kaga with much worse tyre wear in that car. Ooh, just holding it again. So Kaga's going to have to come in this lap, I think, and is going to have to put mediums on. So maybe Kaga on the hards wasn't on a no-stop in the first race and changed. Maybe it was an intentional one stop on hards, but they just knew, because they knew that the tyre wear in this car was so bad. But I expect to see Kaga in this lap because they're losing a lot of time to Philo and Potter here after having the lead of this race earlier on. Gecko now starting to close through, but 12.5 seconds off the lead, so that's a big gap for Gecko to try and close down, but we've seen Gecko do that sort of thing in the past, and currently he is the only one out on track over the 2 races to yet make a mistake. So going off that, you'd give Gecko a real chance here of making something happen. So Kaga's staying out with dead tyres. This is what a couple did in the first race, like Philo, and Philo had an accident after doing this, so maybe not the cleverest thing for Kaga to do there then. Philo's tyres still okay for now, but we'll see if Philo's tyres run out and if he chooses to do that extra lap again. And Potter might be in a similar situation. Gecko's by far got the best tyres of everyone here at the moment. And Oni now the leader of the no-stoppers. So Oni in a very good situation here. So Oni might be able to show us whether the no-stop works. It did kind of work for Oni getting 3rd place in the last race, but obviously had a lot of issues early on. So this race will show more whether it's worked for them, as we're coming towards the pit stop phase now. As I said, most people on the 1 stop are going to want to get to the 15-minute mark, but as we see Kaga up ahead, but we do see yellow flags, so I think that might have been for Kaga going. Oh no, we still see yellow flags. Oh, it's Clarkson unfortunately has gone off, green death there. So had a struggle at this track today, unfortunately. So Philo still got the lead, maybe looking after tyres a little bit more in this one after what happened in the first race, but still taking it risky with the edge of the track. Potter running out of tyres as well. So we'll see if these two do an extra lap now when they come round to the pits, or whether they pit in. Gecko should be fine for that extra lap. So Gecko's took 2.5 seconds out of that lead already now then. So Gecko is definitely on the pace to still be able to win this race. I think it'll be more onto how well that no stop works for Oni. I have seen him make them, Steve, but it is very, very rare to see him make them, which is why he's consistently near the front. So Potter does choose to come in, doesn't take the risk on the extra lap. So we'll see whether they put the softs on or the mediums. Philo risking the extra lap again, but this time the tyres are a bit better. So Philo has managed to look after the tyres a bit better this time than they did in the first race. Maybe that's because they got the lead early on, so we've been able to look after the tyres a bit more. But they're still going to be dead before the end of this lap. So Philo needs to not make a mistake, as we see other people behind also coming in early. So it'll be interesting to see if all these guys go on softs again, because they have pitted a bit. You know, they really could have done with one more lap before pitting to make sure the softs can last a full second stint. Gecko's easy getting this lap in, so we'll see Philo and Gecko in the pits at the end of this lap. So what's the gap from Potter to Oni? 13.5 seconds. So it is a gap that can be closed down, but then how quickly can Potter close the gap down to Oni? And will that mean Oni can defend come the end of the race, because the softer runners' tyres will be gone by that point? But Potter has come back out ahead of Mullet. So Mullet's big spin costing him big time in this one, as we see Philo coming into the pits now then. So Ace Killer on the no stop with the mistakes as well, now back behind Mullet. So that's gone wrong for them as well. And we see Gecko come into the pits as well now then. So Kaga did put the mediums on, which is what we expected. But what did everybody else put on that come in early? Oh, at this game sometimes. So we got Potter did put the softs on. Oni obviously taking the lead on the no-stop strategy. Kaga put the mediums on. Umbar put the mediums on. Mark did put the softs on though. And Green Def went in early and put the softs on, and he's having an absolute nightmare at this track. Clearly doesn't really know the track that well, unfortunately. So Oni now with an 11-second lead, but that gap will be coming down. But Philo, Potter has jumped the gap to Philo with pitting one lap earlier, but obviously he's going to have worse tyres at the end. So Potter needs to get past Philo now, because he's going to have worse tyres at the end, so he needs to get ahead now. And he is currently going purple, as Mullet did get ahead of Gecko, but Gecko right behind him. So this is bad news for Gecko, because it's going to slow Gecko down, because Gecko had still been wanting to win, but 18.5 seconds off the lead, but obviously with the leader on the hard tyres. So still a possibility for Gecko here, but going to be much harder if he gets stuck behind Mullet. But he gets a good exit, so he should be able to get Mullet down into turn 1, I believe. But Mullet does take the inside line by the looks of it, so Gecko's going to have to go the long way round. But he has got very fresh tyres now, so he might... Yeah, there we go. That's the difference. He couldn't do it earlier on, but with those brand spanking new soft tyres, it's not a problem at all. So that's Gecko up into 4th now then, ready to chase after Oni, Potter and Philo. So Potter has got by Philo now then. So if these two fight too much, that's good news for Oni, that's on the no-stop strategy, because Oni on the wearing hard tyres now is obviously going to come under pressure late on in this race. So if these two fight away, that'll be good news. It was Steve, he's tried it a couple of times in this race against them hard runners, and it's not quite worked out, because he's not quite had enough of a grip difference. But now those hards are wearing down, and now brand new fresh softs, that grip difference was enough to just cruise around the outside there. As we see Clarkson getting out the way there then for these leaders coming by. So these guys are closing the gap up ahead, but maybe not by as much as you would expect them to. But we'll see whether they happily sit behind each other to work together, as Gecko is going to look to chase after him. So Gecko got that gap to the leader down to 15.5 seconds now. So we're just coming up to 11 minutes left to go in this race. Mullet and Ace Killer on a no stop in 5th and 6th at the moment. Kagger on the mediums down into 7th. Martin 8th after a difficult start. Dunbar dropped all the way down to 9th now after a good start to this race. So Oni's 6 seconds now then. So Oni's definitely going to get caught by Potter and Philo here. Definitely. It's just how many laps are they going to have to try and pass Oni before the end of the race, because I imagine Oni now will just defend for his life and see if he can defend till the end of the race. But Oni's tyres at the end of the first race were in a really bad way. So even those hard tyres come the end are wearing out on that McLaren. We just said might be why the two McLarens have gone for the no-stop strategy. Maybe the tyre wear is just too high at this track in that car. But Philo and Potter are battling for position. So they're going side by side now, then they're slowing each other down. This is good news for Oni. The more these two battle, the longer it'll be before they catch up to Oni. Therefore, the less laps Oni will have to try and defend the lead for. So this is exactly what Oni wants here, because these two are a lot quicker than Oni at the moment. But I said catching another car's one thing, getting past is another. And Gecko is closing up on these two as well. And the more they fight, the more Gecko is going to be able to close up. As we do see, Gecko does now have the fastest lap of the race. So Gecko is picking up the pace now then. But his pace difference to these up ahead is not hugely different by the looks of it. But I imagine as he settles into his rhythm, he'll be probably setting fastest lap after fastest lap, knowing Gecko as the fuel comes down. So let's see what Philo does this time, because it was into turn 1 by the looks of it where he battled Potter last time. Because these guys now only 3 seconds off the lead. So if these two work together now, they will be in for the battle for P1 and 2 most likely, rather than P2 and 3. As Philo flirts with the edge of the track again, he's done that quite a lot in this one, and again, and he got caught out eventually in the first race doing it, but he's got away with it so far in this race. So these two really catching up on Oni now. Oni's going to have 8 minutes to defend these guys off, so I don't know if Oni's going to be able to do it. His best bet might be to let them go and try and settle for third and pick up any pieces. As Philo goes for a move and tags Potter. No, that slows them both right down. Luckily, Philo manages to straighten Potter back out though there. So again, good news for Oni there, them and for Gecko as well, as those two battle away and that contact slows them both down. But lucky for Potter and Philo there that it wasn't the end of the situation. They both could have crashed out there because of that, but they have gotten away with it. But what's Philo going to do now into turn 1? He's going to look for the outside. So these two are really battling it away here. And Philo's going to try and hang it all the way around, but that's not going to work when you're both on soft tyres. But this is great news for Oni, because he's still got a 2-second lead to these two. And these two were just about to get on his bumper before the end of the last lap. So he's gained an extra lap where he doesn't have to defend. So that's exactly what he would have wanted. Yeah, exactly, Blue Racer, especially Potter, who pitted the lap earlier than he needed, you know, than you really would have wanted to. So obviously they're going to be wearing the tyres more with all this battling. I'm surprised when they knew they were catching up to Oni that they didn't work together and then battle once they were in P1 and 2, which is probably what I would have wanted to do, get up into P1 and 2 and then squabble for the win later on, rather than, oh, we see a big slide from Philo there, but he holds it round nicely. But they're also letting Gecko catch up now. Gecko's going to be in on the act any minute now with the way these two are going. And we know that Gecko is very good at pouncing on gaps left by other people. So if these two keep battling away, it wouldn't surprise me to see Gecko take advantage as Philo goes deep there, trying to make a sneaky move, but nothing doing. But that's good news for Potter. Might allow a bit of breathing space for him to actually get after Oni now. But this is all good news for Oni. Oni's gained an extra 2 or 3 minutes here without these two on the back of him. So Oni's able to not defend for a few laps, but Oni's tyres are going to be in a bad way come the end of this race. But now that Gecko's caught up to this group, it's not worth Oni giving up any positions. He might as well battle for the win because he's going to get first place or fourth place pretty much no matter what. So he might as well battle the hell and lose a load of time and try and hold on to that win. Because as we've seen, it's not an easy track to overtake at here. And you can make mistakes trying to overtake. But this is a very interesting battle we have got between these front four. So unfortunately, we're not looking back at anyone else. But we'll have a quick run through. It's got Mullet 5th. Kagger up into 6th now with Mark right behind in 7th. Ace Killer and Umbar battling away for 8th. And then Clarkson at the back, unfortunately struggling at this track in 10th. So Potter has now got past Oni, so we just missed that moving away. So Potter did get the good exit. This is why these two needed to not battle earlier, and they could have got Oni, and then they could have pulled away and not had to worry about Gecko. But now they're both going to have to worry about Gecko as well here. Oh, as Philo makes a move on Oni, maybe a bit aggressive as Oni was on the grass, but it might be that Oni just went a bit wide and Philo took advantage. It was hard to tell from that angle that we saw there. Yeah, Steve, that's what I mean. If these two had got past Oni earlier, yeah, there we go. Oni's not been able to defend, so Oni's probably going to have to settle for P4 now. So, unfortunate for Oni. Good try on that nose stop, but probably without any mistakes up ahead, going to have to settle for 4th now. But Gecko is well and truly in this for the win now, 1.5 seconds off the lead. So, to me, I think what Potter and Philo have done by battling earlier, they've played the game into Gecko's hands. I think they would have both... Gecko would have only caught them if they worked together and got past Oni together 3 laps earlier like they could have done. Then I think Gecko would have only been catching them come the final lap of the race. So, whereas now Gecko's going to have a couple of laps to join in this lead battle. As Clarkson's off again there, but letting everybody by, staying out the way. Yeah, definitely Blue Racer, knowing what Gecko's like. These guys have given him that smell of victory here. And if we look at tyre wear, look at that. Gecko is way, way better with the way his tyres are because of the fact that he's been cruising while these guys in clean air, while these guys have been battling away. So said, even though Gecko's currently in 3rd, I would actually put Gecko is probably in the best position to win this race. But this should be the podium as long as there's no mistakes. But Oni's there to pounce to nick a podium off any of these 3 if they make a big mistake from the end of this race. So we'll just check on those battles further back. Mart has got by Kagger now, but tyres are about to go. So maybe Kagger will get back by, but Kagger's tyres are struggling as well. Ace Killer on the nose stops tyres are gone as well now. So Umbar should get past on those mediums at some point, I imagine. As Potter has managed to break the slipstream to Philo, which is probably good news for Gecko, because if Gecko can get by Philo on his own, but they both go deep into the corner there, not what Gecko would have wanted. but there's still going to be another lap to go after this one. And if we look at Philo's tyres, they're going to be close to only just lasting, and Potter's tyres might not last that final lap. But it does look like they're possibly going to have done, I can't remember how many laps were done in the first race, but it might possibly be one less lap than it was, but it might be the same. But Potter is going to have no tyres on the final lap of this race. Philo's going to be in a bad way, and Gecko still got a bit of life to play with here. So Gecko could take it on the final lap, but we'll see. They ain't going to let him by. They're going to defend for their lives now, I imagine, when we saw how much they were battling before. But Gecko thought Gecko got the inside on Philo there. Then he nearly did, but not quite. He had to back out of that one. But look at that exit difference with the tyres. So that's Gecko up into P2 and on the inside. So is he going to get a run at Potter now? Yeah, Potter's front right tyre's gone. The win is Gecko's for the taking here. He's on the inside. Philo's not going to hold it round with those tyres. So Gecko now can smell victory. And Potter's going to have to do everything he can to defend for his life here. But look at the tyre difference. Gecko cruising around the outside, but Philo going to take advantage. Is he? Not quite, as Gecko's still on the outside, gets a slight bit of contact. But Gecko's going to have the inside here, but Philo back by, but Gecko will have the inside. So Philo not going to be able to do anything there, but Potter just about defending Gecko off as it is at the moment. But Potter has no tyres left. Philo has no tyres left. Gecko has a little bit of tyre life left. So final few as Philo sends it and pushes Gecko off and goes off himself and spins Gecko out. So this is where I said Oni can take advantage, and Oni does. Back up into second place. Philo going for the Hail Mary there, and it's just not paid off. And that's give Potter the win. And it's gifted Oni second place as well. I said Oni was there to strike if anything happened here. So that has gifted Potter the win there. So the win for Potter. Oni bringing it home in second. So a great result for Oni on the no stop there. Gecko going to bring it home in third. Going to be disappointed after being so close to the victory with a couple of corners left to go there. Mullet now bringing it home in fourth, and Philo dropped all the way for fifth. So Philo's give up a podium by trying to force it all to get second or first. He's lost himself the podium down to fifth position there. Mark bringing it home in sixth, Kagger in seventh, Umbard in eighth, Ace Killer ninth, and Clarkson 10th. So much better race second time round, I think, by the looks of it there. Yeah, definitely corkscrew chaos there, Blue Racer. So I'm presuming Steve was on about Gecko, telling Gecko to send it with the better tyres, but it was Philo that chose to send it, and he just didn't have the grip with no tyres left at all, and just could. I mean, he did technically get it stopped, but he got it stopped by sort of forcing Gecko off the track, which lost Gecko traction, which obviously caused Philo to then spin as well. So, unfortunate way to end the race, but sometimes you can smell the win and you go for it. So, I think that's what happened there. But we'll just run through the finish order again there. So, we had Potter taking the victory in the end with that carnagey end to the race. Oni keeping it clean, taking home a second. Gecko third and the fastest lap. Mullet fourth. Philo 5th, Mart 6th, Kagger 7th, Umbar 8th, Ace Killer 9th, and Clarkson in 10th. So, driver of the day today then is going to have to go to Gecko, even though it went wrong at the end, because other than that incident right at the end, which wasn't Gecko's fault, as we saw, Gecko was the only one in the two races to not have a single incident that was his own fault. So, other than that, it probably would have been Oni for the second and the third place on the no stop. But I think because Gecko didn't make an individual error and everyone else did, Gecko's got to take home driver of the day there. But fantastic end to the race, excitement-wise. A shame that it ended the way it did, but that's racing. Sometimes you've got to go for it. So that sometimes does happen. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you've not already and you enjoyed that, please hit that like button. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe so you can tune in next week. And we'll see you for the next one.